Hey guys, out for a little walk today. When I was a little kid, one of my favorite memories is when my dad told me that there was an ancient treasure map hidden in our basement. And we lived, up until I think I was age 12 in an older house that had one of those basements that you enter from the outside, and it wasn't finished or anything like that. It had, old brick walls and kind of rickety wooden steps and dirt floor at the bottom. And to me, it was the most magical, mystical place, right? Because I like to imagine all kinds of crazy stories that evolved down there and whatnot. And so this idea that there was a treasure map hidden down there, maybe from some pirate from hundreds of years ago or whatever, was captivating to me, to the extent that I still remember it at age 30. And I remember even rallying all my friends together and getting them all together and forming this little search party, and each person had their own role. And we all tried for literally at least a whole day to find this ancient treasure map, which obviously never really existed. And I was thinking about this the other day, and it really reminded me of how a lot of us in today's society tend to view success. And we've talked about before, success is a totally relative thing. Success to you might be making $1 million a year. To somebody else, it might be making $40,000 a year and having their own car, or having clean water even. That might be success to some people. So it's a relative thing, but we all have this idea, a lot of people have this idea in their minds that success is this magical, mystical thing, that, there's this code that they haven't cracked yet, or there's some kind of secret or key to it that they haven't found. And so we're reading all these books and we're buying all these courses and we're trying to figure out, we're hoping to stumble onto this secret to success. So one of the things that I wanted to share with you today is there's something that I learned from I've learned from multiple mentors over the past 10 years as I've studied and gotten to know different people who have obtained what would, most people would call extraordinary success, and that is that there is only one secret to success, and that is that there is no secret to success. Thomas Edison, I think it was, actually said opportunity is missed by most people because it's dressed in overalls and it looks a lot like hard work. And if you think about that, that's so true. Ever since the beginning of time, success has really been governed by a few key principles. Let's look at one, for example, perseverance, right? There was never a time in history where perseverance didn't make you more likely to achieve success at whatever it is you're trying to do. So this big mystical thing called success really isn't that mystical at all. Now, that's a kind of scary thing to believe if you think about it, because as long as success is this big, mystical, magical thing that we have to discover, this big, intimidating thing, we kind of have an excuse not to have found it, right? Not to have achieved that kind of success. So it's pretty scary to take that responsibility on our shoulders of believing that success is a lot simpler, that we actually can attain it just by following certain principles. That's not maybe a fun thing to believe if you've spent years or decades trying to just barely survive, right? But it's true. Ever since the beginning of time, the same principles have governed success. They haven't changed, they haven't modified. The only thing that changes is the actual techniques that you follow to use those principles to create the result. So if you want more success in your life, whatever that looks like to you, what I would encourage you to do right now is just to make really make a challenge for yourself to learn what these principles of success are, and try to develop habits and changes to your lifestyle that really embody those success principles. One of my favorite ways to learn those is actually a book by Jack Canfield called Success Principles, and it's a pretty good sized book, but I think each page is a different principle. And so check that book out. It's a really easy read, really fun to read, but I've kept it on my coffee table in the past just to sort of remind myself of these principles over and over, so that I can continue to live by them myself. Because the more you live by the universal principles that govern success, the more you're going to start experiencing that success in reality. Now, people who you might deem to be successful, it's not that they're perfect. They don't get it right all the time, but they get enough of the principles right enough of the time, and that's really the goal. So hopefully this has been helpful to you. Comment below if you've got questions, if you want to discuss anything based on what we talked about. And I'm going to go finish this walk, but hope you have a great evening.